Good evening, Simon here, Explosive Action. I am back for the new year. Happy New Year to everybody. Isn't it so great here in 2021 where everything is fixed and where everything is fine? Whatever. We're here to talk about this CD update. Going to check out some metal CDs that I picked up over the last few weeks. But in the background we are listening to the new Noxious Ruin compilation tape, Volume 2, because Volume 2 of the magazine arrived. Very, very cool magazine, this one. A glossy, very glossy death metal magazine with very, very in-depth interviews with bands of old and new. Interview with Cardiac Arrest. Lots of artwork from graphic artists that do album covers. Yeah, it's like a fantastic read. It's got some tongue-in-cheek stuff. This article about Metal Gear is kind of funny. Ken from Ken's Death Metal Crypt does a column, and look, it's just really, really good stuff. And to have a included soundtrack is fantastic. Look, it's even got a metal crossword. I mean, a metal crossword. Come on, that's pretty awesome. And in issue 2, it came with this very, very nice design poster. I'm not sure what it's printed on, but it's pretty special. I'm not too sure how I'm going to hang that without ruining it. So there you go. That's Noxious Ruin Volume 2, the compilation tape that we're listening to. Bands including Worm Ridden, Disrotter, Warflurch, For the Pyres, Obscene, Cardiac Arrest, Cryptic Hatred, Ancient Crypts, all kinds of good bands. So that's what we're listening to in the background. Take a look at the first CD now. This pile is a mix of things. I got some cheap off Facebook. I got a couple of things new from Amazon cheap. And a couple off eBay as well. So yeah, first one we're looking at here is Luciferion The Apostate. This is their 2003 album, which comes 9 years after the Demonication album from 1994. So Luciferion, they're a pretty underrated, evil-sounding death metal band, particularly on Demonication, the 94 album. Although that suffered a bit with some pre-average drum sounds. The drumming was good, but it sounded like a machine. That thing was evil. It's like the Swedish version of Vital Remains or Deicide. This follow-up, 9 years later, is picking up where it left off, but it has a bit more Nocturnus vibe to it. The keyboards, which were present on the first album, are just amped up a bit more. Bit of flourish, just like Nocturnus do. Otherwise, it's just another good continuation. I really enjoy it. Not as much as Demonication, but the actual The Apostate track, which is like nearly 10 minutes long and is split into segments, is fantastic. There's also a Celtic Frost cover, Circle of the Tyrants, and the 1994 EP or demo, The Demon, which they did after Demonication. There's the CD, there's the band. I think the band was the same except for the drummer. I think the drummer changed out from the first album to the second, so there you go. Luciferion, The Apostate. If you're going to get one album, get the Demonication, but if you find this one, definitely pick it up, it's good. Next one we're looking at, it's a reissue for probably the 5th time, I don't know. This is the absolute classic Mexican death metal band Cenotaph with The Gloomy Reflections of Our Hidden Sorrows. This is the new Dark Descent and Dark Symphonies reissue, and this is what we needed. This reissue is what we needed. It looks exactly the same as the original. Like, the original label was Horus, that back in 92 did 1,000 or so copies of this. That's their logo. Everything here is exactly like the original, except for it's got a little Dark Descent URL there, and the copyright's 2020. Otherwise, this is the same thing. I mean, they do such good reproduction work. But the main difference is that it has a second disc of the 3 demos. We've got the 1990 demo, Rise of Excruciation, the EP from 1990, Tenebrous Apparitions, and the Eternal Disgrace EP from 1991, plus a bonus track, so that's really cool. And it's nice it's on a separate disc. I always appreciate that. I always like having the original album untouched, just as it was, and then any supplementary material, put it on a second disc, because I never want to hear it all in one go. I want to hear the album. An album was put together to be heard as an album, and then if I want to hear the other stuff, it's the same as me going and getting the old demo tape, putting in the cassette player. I want to have that experience. So I'm really happy when they do that. Now, this CD, why I say this one sounds better, is this was mastered, not remastered, mastered from the original DAT tape. It even says it there on the CD. Last year, actually no, it would be 2019, Chaos Records, also out of Mexico, did an issue on CD and LP, and I got the LP. Could sound a lot better. The sibilance is pretty high. I didn't hear the CD version of that, but from what I've been reading, it may not have come from the DAT tapes. So anyway, it doesn't matter. We have the Dark Descent version now. There's an LP of this as well, but really happy with the CD of this 1992 Cenotaph classic death metal. They, if you've never heard them, which would be surprising to me, they actually sound a lot like early Fin Death in a way, like Convulse and Pertinence. I think those two bands probably good examples of what you're going to get with Cenotaph. So definitely awesome reissue, and now you can get the classic album with the original art. Thank fuck, because in 1998 or so, another company did that reissue with a different artwork, and it was just terrible. I had that issue and I just couldn't wait to get rid of it. So yeah, awesome. Cenotaph, the gloomy reflection of our hidden sorrows. Next up, we're checking out this awesome CD. This is a band called Volta, or Vulture without the E, I'm not too sure. I say Volta. Drowned in Gangrenous Blood. This is on Memento Mori from 2019. This is some pretty thick and nasty death metal. It's all over the shop in tempos. Like, it goes from bordering on war metal, blasting with just vicious vocals, but it also slows right down to death doom speeds. Real murky sound. The guitars are, I don't know how do you describe it. As I said, it goes from super fast speeds to just sort of chugging riffs, and lots of bit of trem picking over the doom sections. Like, it's a real nice mix. Bludgeoning, I think, is the best description of this. And I am not surprised. And when I picked this one up cheap, I sort of picked it up because, oh yeah, Memento Mori, cover looks cool, give it a 5-second listen. Yep, sounds good, add to cart. Then I learned afterwards that 1, they're from Greece, and 2, they share members. Half the band is from Ectoplasma, so that explains a few things. This is the darker, dirtier cousin to Ectoplasma. So yeah, very good stuff. From 2019, as I said, Drowned in Gangrenous Blood from Volta. I think they only have one release before this, relatively new band, so definitely check them out. It's like 8 tracks, I think. Yeah, there you go. Good half an hour or so of music, and definitely worth your time. Pick this one up, Volta. Similar theme, but even more brutal. This is Sepulchre with Amorphous Mass. These guys are from Italy. This is a 5-track EP, runs at about 20 minutes. And I think the best way to describe this is, if you like that old, thick guitar tone from, say, Hemdale, mixed with their speed that they would do, but then get the bludgeoning sound of like Sanguizagabub. Yeah, it's a great mix between early Hemdale sound and a maggot stomp death metal. Sepulchre from Italy. It really, and I know I said this quite a bit, it sounds like that cover. It is a slimy, filthy, nasty bit of work. There's 5 awesome tracks. It's on Holy Domain, who are from Italy, so there you go. I have the demo as well from these guys, which is really good. This is just picking up more, continuing on with that style. Hopefully we'll get a full length, because they are a really good band from Italy. 3-piece it says here, didn't realise that. Pretty sure it said 4-piece on the archives, but anyway. Yeah, Sepulchre. There's another band that spells their name slightly different. So SEPO is what you want here. SEPOLCRO, not SEPUL. That's somebody else. So Sepulchre from Italy. Filthy nasty. Hemdale / Senguizagubub. Death metal. There you go. Good stuff. Another one. This is a completely different direction. This is Infernal Method, Architects of Instinct. These guys were a Australian melodic death metal band from Sydney, from about, well, this album came out in about 2005, and before that they did a couple of demos and an EP, I think, but the only thing that was really widely available was this album, and it got some press at the time. It even got distribution through MGM, which was a pretty big deal. Now, I only just picked it up now because when it came out in 2005, I was being that guy and just Napstering everything. I was terrible. I had quite a amount of CDs, but then I just sort of stopped and went download crazy for a while. I know, bad me. But anyway, and it's even worse when I tell you that my mate's the vocalist in the band, and I wasn't even supporting them by buying the CD. Naughty me. But anyway, saw these guys live a couple of times. The guitarist in the band is a guy called Peter Perrick, and he is basically virtuoso. He's in around this time, I'm not sure what he's doing these days, but around that the whole 2000s really, he was in a bunch of bands, Infernal Method being one, Dead Spawn, I think he played in Automation, Rookwood, black metal band, Syphilis, the Death Grind band, like lots of little Australian Sydney bands that may not have been very large, but they were all bands that had one release and could have gone further, but they all sort of collapsed in on themselves. Infernal Method was in another one of those bands. I'm not sure if that's just a thing with the bands he's in, but so what you get here is, like I said, melodic death metal, but it's very tastefully done. It's right at that era of just before it all went to hell. So we're talking Dark Tranquillities, The Mind's Eye, we're talking Soilwork, Stillbath Suicide, and we're talking In Flames Colony. Just before it all went to hell. And these guys were really clean, and as I said, amazing guitars, great drums. My mate Evan on vocals, really good. And it's a great release. The music really stands the test of time. Going to be hard to find. I found mine on eBay. There was only one. Not too sure how well you'll go. Not too sure how well it got outside of the country either. So anyway, if you like melodic death metal of that style, those bands that I mentioned from that particular era, I think you'll dig Infernal Method. So yeah, Architecture of Instinct. Try and get it if you can. Very good. Going back to Mexico again, we have the 2014 EP from Infernal Conjuration. This is Death Has Appeared. This is some really, really tasty death thrash in that early Altars of Madness, Blessed Are the Sick style, Ripping Corpse, all that kind of stuff. Really, really, really good stuff. Mortuary, of course, would be an example, being also from Mexico, and coincidentally they also have, being a 5-track EP, the last track is a Mortuary cover. I think that sums up everything you need to know about Infernal Conjuration. Really, really good. It's not like mind-blowing, going to change your world or anything like that, but with those influences and that style, you know exactly what you're going to get, and they do it really, really well. And that's about all I can really say about it. They did an album which I've already got. I think this was 2014. The album was maybe 2018, a few years later. Might be a little wrong on those years, but it's also very good. And this runs at about 22 minutes and gives you exactly what you want from death thrash band. It's got the sort of boomy vocals, like that echoey, reverby kind of vocals, and some maddening guitar solos, and just that death thrash sound that the early Morbid Angel albums gave you. So there you go, Infernal Conjuration, very good stuff. And going back to Italy again, we've got Expirosis with their 2017 album, Asphyxiation Asphyxiating Devotion. I can't speak today. Anyway, also on Memento Mori, this is very punishing death metal with some awesome production. The production of this reminds me of Excommunicated, the album they did, Supremacy I think it was called, from like 2002, something like that. That's very similar production that you get on this thing. The song titles: Obsessive Christendom, God Grotesque, Immolate the Denied, Incarnations of Morbidity. You know what you're getting. You're getting incantation style death metal right here. Bit of Covenant era Morbid Angel as well, particularly on that God Grotesque song. It slows right down a bit, gets a bit of swagger going on. Yeah, this is bang. This just blows your head off. Very, very good stuff. If you like incantation, I mean, what a stupid phrase to be saying, if you like incantation. I mean, one, you like death metal, you like incantation, and two, everybody always compares everything to incantation, which, you know, what can you do when bands do it so well? Expirosis with Asphyxiating Devotion, got it right that time. 2017 album on Memento Mori, very good. Complete change of pace. This is a Swedish band from, this album's from 2012. This is Machine Supremacy, Rise of a Digital Nation, on Spine Farm Records. These guys, I've been a huge fan, absolutely huge fan of this band for, well, since their inception, since their demo days. Very modern sounding band. Their demo stuff was the first time I saw a new band in the early 2000s that were putting their material directly online. Pretty early time to be doing that. It was just that their demos were only downloads. No one was really doing that at the time. What do they play? It's a mix. It's not brutal like everything else we've just looked at. They play it's sort of based in a very modern sounding melodic metal. Sometimes it's power metal, sometimes it's sort of alternative metal, a bit indie rock, but it's always hard hitting. Their best album is the one called Overlord. That has never been beat as far as I'm concerned. Redeemer, the one before that, is also very good. And this is their, as I said, the 2012 album Rise of a Digital Nation, which I've been holding off on for quite some time. It was originally challenging to get their albums, but then this one was on Amazon Australia for $7 and free shipping. It arrived in one day. Okay, so that was the time to pull the trigger. It's not their best. Overlord, as I said, is still their best one, but it's a really solid album. If you don't know the band, their sort of main hook that makes them different from other bands, they have a Commodore 64 in the band. Or should I say the SID chip, the chip that makes the sounds you're so familiar with from an old Commodore 64. They've augmented that into a lot of their music. So you could say that they got synthesizer, but it's this Commodore. And they do it so well. All the songs are always all about video games or internet culture, so like it all ties in really well. Vocals are clean, kind of weird. Like they take a bit to get used to. They're clean, but they're kind of I don't know, kind of frenetic. They're a bit all over the shop. You have to give it a listen to really understand what I'm talking about. But it's a solid album, and yeah, happy to pick this one up from Machine Supremacy. But if you're new to them, Overlord, that is the album that you want. And we are going back to Greece again. I cannot believe I'm just jumping around countries like this. Necroboris with their 2017 album Plains of Decay. These guys really play I guess the bass line is somewhere between Bolt Thrower and Autopsy, but with a much cleaner production. It's got a lot of Dead Congregation in there as well. It's a good mix of those bands. It really is a band that you can just say they play death metal, just straight ahead. The tracks, I think is it Eternal Soulmates, I think it was, that particular track. It went on like a big journey. The styles changed quite a bit throughout that track. I think it's just a fantastic, easy to listen to, straight ahead death metal band. Dark Descent Records always know what to pick up. I guess you could compare it to a bit like Corpsest, who are also on their roster, but you know, a little less doomy, a little less finish. Just sort of straight ahead death metal. It's Necroboris. A bit tongue in cheek with some of the lyrics, and yeah, they had an album before this. I think it was like 2011, like way before. A couple of demos and things, but they haven't done a great deal. Hope they do more. I should probably pick up the previous albums as well. So yeah, Necroboris, good, solid, standard death metal. Now we're going to Iceland with Svata Daldi. I've never been sure how to say that. Svata Daldi. I think it sounds better if you say Svata Daldi, but anyway. This is their 2006 demo. What the hell's it called? Yeah, I can't even read that. I have no real inclination to spend my life looking at that, but I can't remember. Anyway, it's a 2006 demo put on CD. Pretty hard to actually find this CD. It's a 3-track EP. It's kind of like 2.5 tracks really. The first track, it's not an ambient intro. It's an actual song, but it's very simplistic and there's not much going on. It goes for 2.5 minutes. But then there's 2 epic long tracks, like a 9-minute and a 7-minute, I think. And you can really hear, even in this early days of their first demo in 2006, they're really setting the stage for the kind of stuff that they did as far as their 2018 latest album, which everyone was raving on about. These guys are really, really interesting, multi-layered black metal, quite occult sounding. The lead guitar sort of just goes off on its own journey while the other band gets on with it. Like, it's pretty evil sounding stuff. I mean, it's from Iceland. I'd be evil if I lived in Iceland too. So anyway, Svata Daldi, 2006 demo. I'll put the name of it here because, yeah, these damn Germanic fonts, I can't read a thing about them. But there you go, Svata Daldi with their demo. It's just as good as their latest stuff, just a little bit less produced, and it's awesome. Awesome stuff. Iceland. And the next one we've got is a band from Sweden, from Stockholm. This is Vermin, 1994, with their album. It is called Plunge into Oblivion. I'd never heard of these guys at all. They're definitely an also-ran Swedish band. Completely no idea who they were. How did I find them? I was on Amazon Australia, which is the thing I do, and I tend to just every now and then go, oh, I feel like getting some cheap CDs. So you go to the CD section, filter it by metal, order it by lowest price, make sure it's got prime shipping, all that kind of thing. And I just scout around the pages, and this thing showed up for $7 and change, I think. And I thought, well, that looks interesting. Gave it a quick listen, sounded up my alley, and here we are. As usual with that kind of stuff, there's only ever one copy, so I don't know why they get this stock in, but they do. Anyway, so Vermin, 1994, like I said, they are definitely drinking from the early Entombed, which you'd expect. It's Sunlight Studios. It's got that same guitar tone that you'd expect, the HM2. I guess it's more clandestine than Left Hand Path, but it does get blasty every now and then, which Entombed didn't really do too much. It also slows down a bit, and it's just that early Swedish death metal, and it's got a bit of death and roll, which again, Entombed. So you know the kind of thing you're getting, but it is angrier. The vocals are more barking, like Carnage, or even more like Carbonized. Like it's just sort of just belts it out at you, which is a different sound for the Swedish bands. The bigger bands anyway. It doesn't sound like Dismember at all. It doesn't sound like Grave at all, that's for sure. It's one of those cases as well where if you just like regular death metal and you don't like death and roll too much, you stick with this album. Same with Entombed for me. I kind of just bailed at Clandestine. After this album, Vermin went and drunk deep from the death and roll. Their album cover on the albums from this, like it looks like a 60s swing album. It's just got a big bold font, like it's anyway, and it sounds terrible, like Helicopters or something. I'm just not into it. But this thing is a bit of an hidden gem, really. Originally released on Chaos Records, not the Mexican Chaos Records, but a sub-label of House of Kicks. This was a reissue in when was this? A little while ago, 2013, on Punishment 18. records, and I think it's actually not too easy to get, so God knows why Amazon Australia had one copy in their warehouse. Amazon Australia didn't even exist in 2013, so I have no idea. But anyway, if you can get a hold of it, pick it up. It's really good. If you like your early Swedish death metal and you want more of that from the period, check out Vermin. But less said about the last track, which is a Johnny Cash cover, the better, because it's not very good. Next thing we're going to check out is a 2-track EP from Inoculation. This is their 2019 EP from Maggot Stomp. And yeah, I didn't know too much about these guys at all. It was just sort of a Maggot Stomp band, 1, and 2 was something I could get cheap in a bulk lot from a Facebook seller. And it barely clocks in at 8 minutes. 2 tracks. It's one of those old slimline things. The CD's in the player, so I can't show you that. But it's really good. It's not what I was expecting. You look at that, dark, cavernous, and brutal logo. Not really. It's more Deeds of Flesh. Very technical, particularly the lead guitars. And there's not much I can say when it's only 2 tracks. It's really good though. They have an album from 2018 that I've never heard, and I would now like to check it out because this is really good. And they have a track on the forthcoming 4-way split on Blood Harvest Records with I can't remember the other bands on it actually. Completely skipped my mind, but there's a 4-way split and the Inoculation are on them, so yeah, go check that out as well. I'm sure it'll be good. 1 track each for each band. Astral Decay, is that a band? I think they're on there. Anyway, Inoculation, good 2-track EP, very cool. And the last thing to check out and talk about was the prize I won from Brendan Von Doom's
this will excite
competition that he held. I was very lucky, got my name drawn out of the hat, and the prize was In Malice's Wake debut? No. In Malice's Wake latest album. They're a Australian thrash metal band. I wasn't very familiar with them at all. And to be honest, it's the kind of thing I look at that cover and go, well, that looks kind of thrash, kind of death metal. That logo, though, looks kind of power metal or trad metal or something. So, big goth metal with all those swoons all over it. So I wouldn't have immediately picked this kind of thing up in the shop. So I'm really glad to have won it as a prize because, man, if you like Modern Creator, Modern Destruction, Modern Sodom, you're going to like In Malice's Wake. Modern Testament, but with that German anger, In Malice's Wake. Very good stuff. Mix of everything that those bands are doing in this day and age. It's generally fast thrash metal with super clean production. They slow it down, they speed it up. Great ripping solos. I think everybody chucks in vocals on this every now and then, as well as just the lead vocalist, just sort of barked out. Yeah, it's really good. I've only given it the 1 listen so far. I only received a couple of days ago. But yeah, it's good. Digipack release has a booklet, just the same artwork, and yeah, very happy to have won this as the prize. Trying to get the damn booklet back in the Digipack. God, I hate Digipacks. Anyway, it's sticking out the side now. You can see my contest entry video for the prize that I won, which was the Give Me Something Brutal video, so I'll link that at the end of this video in the tiles. You can check that out if you haven't seen it. But yeah, In Malice's Wake, good album from 2020. I'm going to give it a few more listens. Very happy to now know this band, and that is everything that I have to show you. A reminder, we're listening to the latest Noxious Ruins compilation cassette and their awesome magazine, which I'll show you quickly again. There you go. Volume 1, Volume 2 sold out. They're taking commissions now for Volume 3. So keep an eye out. Just search Noxious Ruin magazine. I got my copy from Extremely Rotten Productions out of Denmark. Far easier to ship to Australia from there. Quicker, cheaper, and tracked. So yeah, there you go. That's this CD update. Hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.